I would say the biggest advantage of coming from acting is understanding actors, honestly. Being able to speak to them, being able to communicate, knowing what a beat is supposed to be without having to push through something or convince someone that you might, know what you're talking about. I think it's just sort of a natural inclination for an actor to sort of trust another actor a little bit more than someone who's mostly caught up in, what lens we're using or what fun new gadget or what fun new toy there is on set. And I also think it's incredibly helpful when it comes to casting. There's just sort of an innate thing that happens inside of me when I'm putting a group of actors together, and I think it comes from being an actor myself, knowing what a good ensemble feels like when you're doing it, when you can feel it, when you're listening, and what that sort of special lightning in a bottle is, so that when you go out and try to find it when you're not a part of it, you know exactly what that feeling is. You don't have to sort of guess at it. And this cast was no exception. Like, it's not like you can just throw anybody in these roles, Like, it was actually really important to get the right people in every single part in order for the collective to be as great as the sum.
When you work in a budget like this, everyone is there because they want to be there. So
this is true.
It really, it's a real morale boost when things get hard, especially towards the end. And when you work with a person like James, one of the best things about James as a director that you notice immediately is that you're working with a wonderful person and director when the whole crew is excited to show up to work. And that's the effect James has on a crew. And he's always very much in charge, but it's an extremely collaborative process. And as an actor, it's really fun because James always brings a perspective that I really didn't see before.
Working with the whole cast and crew was a gorgeous experience because my co-stars were a group of 6 women, all at the top of their game, all joining us in a not expensive budgeted film. We're all doing it for a little less because we care about it. And so being able to work with a female heavy cast and crew really just made the story come together. We felt each other's energy. I got to be part of a sisterhood, and I'm really grateful. And I don't know, perhaps the biggest sister that I worked with was James Roday. He's one of my dearest friends. This is his baby. He thought of it before it was like a hashtag, and now he's sharing it with us. And his directing style is brilliant. I've worked with him almost countless times as a director, and each time he impresses me anew. So I can't wait for everybody to see his vision in one experience.
Well, James and I met on one of the greatest movies ever made called Dukes of Hazzard. And we hit it off from there, and we've done a bunch of things together. We did like plays together, and I did his thing, Psych, a bunch of times. And so I've worked with him, and Jimmi and I know each other from theater in New York, and so like we've worked together as friends. And when you've had that kind of like rapport with people, it's just fun. You show up on set, and you've cut out all the sort of BS, and you're just starting. I think way further down the road, especially comedically, because you can just play and you know each other's sense of humor. So it was just a ball. It was really fun. And Julianna is a great friend of mine as well, and a super talented actress and producer. And so we just, I think it's whenever you get to work with your friends, you're just blessed. And it was really just a ball from the word go.
It was really fun. It was really fun. It was just everyone supporting each other and having the freedom to, put your own spin on it, if it was right. And James was incredibly accepting of what I brought to it naturally, and he also gave brilliant direction. There was a scene that we were doing all day, and there was this one line we knew we wanted it to be a comedy moment, and I guess we weren't quite getting it. And he just whispered to me before the last shot, he went, "David Brent." And then we did the scene, he loved it. So I was like, that was the best, because he knows I love The Office. I know he loves The Office. So that was really fun.
It was so fun. And part of the reason is that Jimmi is a really funny man. And James, here's what I love about a good director is when it's clear they're in charge, because actors are kind of like children, you know, they need somebody, a mommy or a daddy, to kind of contain them. And yet, if that person can also have a sense of humor, and James has both, and that was really a pleasure. It felt really comfortable being there, and I felt contained in the best way. I could feel that I could trust him to tell me if something was off or if he needed it a different way, and he did. And I like taking direction. I like being able to do that. It's a skill that I had to learn when I came to Hollywood 20 years ago. I mean, I've been in a million plays, but you have a 6-week rehearsal period, and of course you get notes and whatever, but to be able to change on a dime is really fun. And James was really clear about what he wanted, and it was a pleasure.